Hey there, welcome to the Random Review channel. So on the bench today is this here little bad boy. Now I've owned this here for a while. It's an Eachine E010 2.4 gigahertz 6-axis gyro drone. There's quite a few different sort of copies. This here is basically a copy of the Tiny Whip, which you've probably heard quite a lot about if you've been watching any sort of drone videos or any FPV type people, you know, like Mr. Steele or Zoe FPV or any of them people on YouTube. You'll have seen that they are sort of at the minute seem to be into the tiny whips quite a lot. This here is not a tiny whip. It may be called that some places, but this here is basically a pretty good clone of a tiny whip. So first of all, the packaging. You can get this here in a variety of colours. I believe it comes in red as well. This is the green one, just because whenever I ordered it, the red one was out of stock. So if we crack it open, we'll see what's inside. So we get an instruction manual, which is in English and is in some form of Chinese. The manual's pretty good. As manuals for these go, this one here is quite good. It's quite detailed, and it is not that side because it's Chinese, but it has been converted from Chinese into English very well. And the things about calibration and flips and stuff, it is sort of mostly proper English. You will be able to understand it without too much trouble. There may be a couple of sort of translations that don't really sort of carry over, but in general it's pretty good. Another thing I would say is that YouTube is full of sort of tutorials on these here and video reviews on these here, on the functions of them, and modifying them as well is a big thing for these here little drones. We'll talk about that a bit, but this is more just a general review of what you get out of the box. Okay, so it's pretty well packaged. There we have the main drone. If I can somehow get this open. You have the controller, the battery, and a spare set of props, little tiny 4-bladed props. Okay, so the battery's peeling off, but we'll start with the battery. So the stock batteries that come with this here one is a 3.7 volt, 150 milliamp hour 30C battery. It holds, and I've had this flying before, and if I'm hovering with it in its current configuration with the 4-blade props, I get about maybe 4 minutes. I have seen some videos where people are getting sort of 4 minutes 30 seconds, but if I do a really light hover and sort of have it pretty stable, I get about 4 minutes out of this battery, and it's maybe just a difference in the quality of the lipos from one to another. But you can get upgraded ones. You can get 200 right up to sort of 350, I believe, milliamp hour batteries, and different C ratings on them as well. There was a video which sort of suggested that the 200 milliamp hour battery, the 30C 200 milliamp hour battery, was probably the best, and with it you were getting about 9 minutes flight time. So I would suggest probably upgrading that battery, but this is what you get out of the box: a little 1-cell battery with a little connector. Now what I would say is that the cables in this here are actually silicone. They're actually a pretty good quality cable on the connector, so you can charge this with a balance charger if you want, but really it's a 1-cell battery. Do you need to? No. Would it be quicker? Probably, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so here you have 4 little props, a set of props. As you should know if you're sort of going to buy one of these here, that the props are directional. So because of the rotation of the motors in these here, if you're replacing one, just make sure you replace it with one that's in the same orientation, or else the drone will want to flip over or it won't get off the ground, something like that there. So as I was saying, we're not going to get into it, but people have found more efficiency if they carefully take 2 of the blades off and make these a 2-prop sort of micro. Now this inductrix system is meant to be more efficient, but there is a sort of conjecture on that there. Some people say that it's actually less efficient than not having them, but anyway, RC Model Reviews do a really good review on whether or not they actually are more efficient to have this sort of inductor type setup. Anyway, I will do another comparison where I take off these here fins and have a 2-prop setup and see what the difference in the flight time is, and then as I get them I will upgrade the battery. and I am going to put a little 25 milliwatt FPV camera on that, and we'll give it a go from there. But anyway, in the meantime, this is what you get out of the box, okay? This here is the little charger, a little USB charger for the wee tiny battery, and you plug this in, and when it's fully charged, it lights up red. Bang, you're charged. No hassle. Really don't think it would be beneficial if you only had one battery to plug this into a balance charger. You can buy chargers with your upgraded batteries or these that can charge 5 at a time. They're about 10 to 12 pounds. They're a good investment. You can get them off the likes of Bang Good and things like that there. So anyway, we'll put this aside. In terms of the battery, while we're at it, we'll get out our set of little cheapo scales, which are actually surprisingly accurate. And we'll just weigh the battery. Okay, so the battery on its own weighs 5.58 grams. Okay, which is not bad. So just to see what we get here then, this is the canopy. So the canopy comes off and you're left with this here underneath. So there is a little antenna, and then all the motors solder onto the board. Now, one thing I would say is when I received this one here, straight out of the box, one of the pads for the motors was off. It was peeled off, and whenever I went to flat, one of the motors obviously wouldn't work, so I had to resolder that on myself, which I'm proficient at soldering, but if you weren't, you know, you might have had to send it back, which would have been a bit of a pain in the ass. But anyway, so underneath then we have the little battery compartment, and this here is the canopy, which clips on with 2 clips either side, if you can see that. So the little canopy then weighs almost 0.9 of a gram. Okay, so if you wanted to save weight, so for instance, if you're going to put like an FPV camera, every gram counts. So the likes of this here will get ditched, and to saving as much weight as you possibly can in this here, possibly one of the battery houses, the little battery holder, sorry, can get ditched, or both of them, and you can cut that away and just use a little band for the likes of a loom band would hold the battery in place. Anyway, for the purposes of this here, so this here on its own, oh sorry, there we go. So it weighs 15.42 grams with the canopy. Then it weighs 16.38, and with the battery that comes with it, we can balance it all on there, it weighs 21.99, so it weighs 22 grams, all kitted out, minus an FPV camera. Okay, so this here is the little sort of generic remote. Take it up the back off, and it takes AA batteries. There's Energizer in this one. If I can get the back on. There we go. Okay, so we have the trim here. We have the buttons on the top which change the rates, and we have the sticks. Okay, so just to show this sort of in operation, we'll take this little battery, get rid of the canopy, put the battery underneath, and plug the little battery in. Now the battery has a little sort of split on it at the back, so you know which orientation is positive and negative. Okay, so we'll plug that in, and we can see that it starts flashing underneath, red and blue. So we switch on the controller, and it flashes red. We push up and back, and it stops flashing. That's the controller bound. Okay, so if I just put my finger on it here, okay, we can see that now. I'll not really get into it. There is ways to calibrate this here, and really and truly, you shouldn't have to calibrate it every time, but calibrating it when you first switch it on is a simple process, and it's worth doing when you get it. If you get it well calibrated and you find that it's not drifting about too much, I wouldn't really mess about with it. You can use the trims on it if you want, just to sort of fine tune it out in the house to get it to hover more. These here ones on the top, this one here is your rate button. This one here is for flips. So you push this button for a flip when you're hovering, and then whatever direction you push in next is the direction that it'll do the flip. And the high and low rates in this here really determine how stable it is. So the lower rate on it will be more stable in the air, and if you want to sort of push it to make it go a bit faster, basically the higher rate allows it to lean more, which then allows it to be faster and sort of more agile in the air. Okay, so when you move these here trims about to get back to the nominal trim, it beeps longer when you get to where it was. Okay, as you can see. Okay, so and I'll not be able to fly it because it's a very sort of tight area, and you know they're I'm just not that good, to be quite honest. But we'll sort of give it a go here to get it off the ground and see how we go. Okay, so I'm pretty crap at these here, but in my defence, bit of backwash, bit of pressure for the video. Anyway, enough of that guff. That's pretty much it. I will be doing some modifications to this here. The next one will be the cutting two of the fins off the props. The one after that will be a battery upgrade, and then hopefully after that the FPV camera will have camel tracked its way from China, and we can put it on and it can give you some in-flight footage of flying around the house. One thing I would say is that because these things are so light, they really don't handle being outside much. So, you know, these are really indoor sort of things. Any breeze at all outside, and they really don't cope. They won't cope with the wind well at all. Yeah, and that's about it. The little motors are replaceable, and they're cheap as chips. You can upgrade the motors on them. Sort of £10 gets you a really good set of motors for them. It's worth the investment. Gives them a lot more kick, and that there coupled with the bigger battery. And these are a lot of fun, very, very stable in flight, surprisingly stable, and you'll just have lots of fun with it. So that's about it from me, and I'm going to have a wee blip with this here around my office, and thanks very much for watching.